they talk about China's ability to modernize and why India is doing it much more slowly. And those of you who've been to India will have noticed, and those who've been to China will have noticed the contrast at the airports between arriving in Shanghai and arriving in Bombay. It's different worlds. But there is a different measure as well, soft infrastructure. There's a hard infrastructure measure, the fast roads, the high-speed rail, the power supply. China is 10, 15 years ahead of India. But on soft infrastructure, something that is overlooked, independent judiciary, freedom of expression, having a civic sector full of NGOs, peaceful change of power frequently, not just at the national level, but at the state level, multiple religions which most of the time don't clash. These attributes, these soft attributes, also form a very important part of a modern and thriving nation state, and of a developed country, a politically developed country. One final anecdote I'll leave you with is the late American Harvard academic, a scholar of India called Myron Weiner, who died 3-4 years ago, described India as a juggernaut with a lorry, a large lorry, a very multicolored lorry with 16 wheels, meaning it's a very diverse country. And that if one wheel comes off this lorry, it's not going to fall over, it's not going to go into the ditch. The lorry keeps on going. But it goes a bit slower than it would do if it had fewer wheels. In other words, it's very diverse, and the price of stability in a diverse country is that you reduce your efficiency a bit. China is a four-wheeled car that goes very, very quickly. But if a wheel comes off, it could go into the ditch. And I think the sustainability of China's model, its model of governance, and the legitimacy of its government is only possible with fast rates of economic growth. That is the sole raison d'etre left of the Chinese authoritarian system. And if they lose growth, they lose legitimacy. And which is why China was first out of the stables last year with the biggest stimulus ever, and it worked. And their growth rate didn't decline too sharply. Indian democracy has survived periods of negative growth, which developing countries should never have. A testimony to how mismanaged the Indian economy was for many of its post-colonial decades, but also how deeply rooted democracy is in the transactions of daily Indian life. And I think that is underappreciated, not just as a good in itself, but also as a facet of sustainable development.